Hello out there, future Broncos. Welcome to Cal Poly Pomona's next steps for admitted international students for the fall 2020. Congratulations on your academic achievements, and what a year it's been, eh? 2020, who would have thought? So today I'm going to be speaking with you. My name is Kevin Martin. I'm in the Office of International Admissions, and I'm here with my colleague from the International Center.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rigson Norva Wynn, and I am an international student advisor.
So, welcome everyone. Sit back and relax, and we will guide you on your next steps for the admission. So, when you get provisionally admitted, which is a very important word, provisional, keep that one in mind. There are a couple of steps that you need to keep in mind, and one of them is that you have to accept the offer of admission on my CPP portal. Okay, so that would be step one. Following that, you would have to pay what's called the enrollment confirmation deposit, known as an ECD, and you can do that on my CPP portal as well. So why are we asking for an enrollment confirmation deposit? Well, it's our way of knowing that, hey, we've extended this offer of admission to you, you've accepted it, and this is kind of like a deposit, if you will, and it's $150, and it goes towards your fall fees. The thing you have to keep in mind, one thing is the deadline is June 1st. It was May 1st. Some of you may have received communication letters saying May 1st, depending on when you were admitted, but it has been extended from May 1st to June 1st. So the next thing you keep in mind is that it's non-refundable and it's non-transferable. So let's say you paid the $150 and you decide to go elsewhere. Well, unfortunately, it's a non-refundable fee. So yeah, just keep that in mind when we're talking about the ECD. So those are the first two steps toward accepting your admission officer at Cal Poly Pomona. So next, we're going to talk about campus housing. And there's some things to keep in mind. A lot of students wonder, well, why should I live on campus? If you think about it, there's a lot going on in terms of engagement with other students, faculty, and so forth. A lot of social, cultural events going on in terms of developing yourself, your social activities there. And it provides you exposure to a number of things, such as opportunities for leadership, citizenship, like we were talking about, engagement as well. And research has shown that those that are on campus, if you think about it, and you have access to study groups, tutors, labs, for example, that's where the increased persistence and graduation rates come in. So that's some things to keep in mind in terms of living on campus. It's beneficial to the new student success. The university provides a couple of options for living on campus for freshman students, the traditional residence hall and the residential suites. So the residential halls, we have two new 8-story towers, and those are known as Sequoia and Sycamore halls. And those feature spacious lounges. They have community kitchens, and each floor is divided into 2 wings. So we mentioned the residential suites. Transfer students have this option as well. Think of these as more like an apartment complex, 3-4 stories. Those are also an option there. Each one has a balcony. And for students, transfer students that are looking for a little bit different transition to more mature options, there's also what's known as the Village. And it's located across Temple Avenue by the campus farm store. So in terms of the housing options that we talked about, there's other things you need to keep in mind as well, the cost for the residence halls and the suites. So it's going to vary, obviously, depending on what type of housing you choose, the floor plans, the number of roommates, the size of your meal plan. Keep in mind also that there is a deposit is $450. So for priority consideration, we ask that you submit that housing deposit by May 15. Now, obviously with COVID-19 going on, the pandemic, there's a number of things that have come up, and families and students may be in particular situations as a result of the pandemic. There are on-campus housing exemptions. They're provided by housing for those facing those hardships. You can inquire with the housing office for further details. So please, please, please keep that in mind. If you have any situation where you think that a housing exemption is definitely in the works there. So down at the bottom, you'll see University Housing Services. Please feel free to contact them and they can guide you on the housing exemption request. So in terms of orientation, obviously with COVID-19 and a lot of remote work, everything being virtual these days, we want you to keep in mind that the signups will begin on May 15th. And this year, we're going to have a 3-part virtual orientation. It's required of all new students. So what is this going to look like in terms of the steps? First is a self-guided virtual orientation. So that would begin June 1st. You have access to the self-guided virtual orientation. You navigate through informative videos and content about campus services and resources, along with taking quizzes for different sections. The approximate completion time is around 2 hours. So we have the second part of the virtual orientation is the academic advising and the class registration portion. And based on the date you selected in the MyCPP portal, you have access to advising workshops with those academic advisors. They guide you on course selection for the fall. So when you get ready to register, you've made an informed decision there. If you're a transfer student, we'll have your transfer credit posted for any official transcripts received by July 15th. So last but certainly not least is the third part and the final part of orientation is the virtual engagement with campus departments and orientation leaders. This final component, it's equally important in the sense that it helps you to acclimate to college life and connect you to important departments, be it academic, student services, student life, and people who can help you in your transition. And I would throw in terms of clubs, student organizations, there's over 300 to choose from. So that's what we're talking about, getting engaged with campus department orientation leaders can guide you on that. So I'm going to preface this next section, hand it off to Rigzin and let you know that when you're working to get admitted, you're working with international admissions, but we don't issue the I-20s or look at your financial documentation. That's where the wonderful staff at the International Center like Rigzin come into play. So take it away, Rigzin.
Great, thank you, Kevin. So now that you have been accepted to Cal Poly Pomona, you are ready to request an I-20. So like Kevin mentioned, we will assist you with the process of receiving the I-20 document. Our process is all online, so you can visit the link provided in the first bullet, and you can upload your financial statement and a copy of your passport by logging into the online request form, and you will use your CPP username and password to log in. If you are facing any challenges as you upload, you can always contact our office to get some guidance and support. But the documentations can be PDFs, can be JPEGs, so we will take a look once you submit your request. The issuance of a new I-20 could take 3 to 5 business days, depending on your I-20 record, whether it's a transfer record, whether it's a brand new I-20 that you need to gain for the visa issuance in your home country. So please keep in mind that it will take up to 3 to 5 business days. You will receive a lot of communication from our office, so please check your email, CPP email. We will send all the communication there now that you will be an incoming CPP student. And once we issue the I-20, we can certainly have it mailed wherever you are. We use a service called eShip Global, and what you can do is request the shipping address, and we will mail your I-20 directly to you. And what it can be inside the United States, it can be outside of the United States, so everything can be mailed. For those of you who are entering as a first time into the United States, you will need to use your I-20 to receive a brand new F1 visa. And for those of you who are new into the United States as a first time, you can enter the US 30 days before the program start date, which is August 20th. For those of you who are a transfer student coming in from another university inside the United States or a community college here, you do not have the 30-day limit. You can enter as soon as you receive the I-20. Another note for transfer students, please be sure to notify your current international student office or advisor to have them electronically send the I-20 to CPP International Center. And they will ask, what is the school code, which is provided down below. We will not be able to work on the I-20 unless we receive the electronic I-20 from your current school. So please make sure you communicate with your international student advisor to notify them that you will be admitted into the Cal Poly Pomona this coming fall. And if you have any questions regarding the I-20, anything related to visa benefits or questions about your I-20, you can always email us at international@cpp.edu, and this information will be provided to you shortly at the end as well.
Okay, thank you, Rigson. So let's talk about English language proficiency, folks, shall we? If you're looking at undergrads, TOEFL, internet-based TOEFL, we have a minimum of 71. For a graduate student that has taken TOEFL internet-based, we're looking for 80. Okay. Other option is IELTS. So I'm sure you've heard of that. So the undergraduate overall band score required there is 6.0. For the graduate overall band score is 6.5. Now, in COVID-19, the situation that's changed a lot of this, TOEFL and IELTS obviously had to make some changes, and they offer a home-based version. So we will accept those. If you have any questions, you can contact ETS or IELTS. They can guide you on that. If you've already taken those tests, then certainly you can get those to us. If you have any issues that come up, delays, feel free to contact us via email. I'll have a slide for that at the end of the presentation. And the third option that is new this year, it's a temporary, we're trying it out. It's called Duolingo, and it has a relatively quick turnaround time. It's online, and the expense is a little bit cheaper than TOEFL or IELTS. So what are we looking for undergrads? A 95 is the score for Duolingo, and the graduate programs, the majority, we're looking for 105, 105. If, however, you're pursuing a master's in English, then we're looking for a score of 120, okay? So let's talk next about waivers. Obviously, if you're coming from a country where the national language is English, then we don't need an English language proficiency exam. Transfers, for example, if you're coming from a community college or university where you've completed the Golden Four, if you've looked online, the Golden Four, English composition, oral communication, critical thinking, college level mathematics, that's the Golden Four. So if you've completed at a community college or university, then we're waiving the TOEFL, IELTS, any English language proficiency requirement, because obviously you've proven in the classroom that you are proficient. Freshmen, if you attended the last 3 years of a high school and are an institution, the medium of instruction was English, then that waiver would be enforced there and we wouldn't need the English language proficiency requirement through exams. Graduate students, obviously, again, if you attended an institution, the medium of instruction is English. Typically, I've seen a lot of them annotated on the transcript or the degree certificate that the language of instruction was English. Then we could consider a waiver of the English language proficiency requirement exams there. If you have any questions, let us know. Like I said, we'll give you an email at the end of this presentation. Those of you who've taken advanced placement scores, AP scores through College Board, we're looking for those official score reports by July 15th would be your deadline there, and the code, institutional code 4082. So in terms of scores, minimum would be 3, but if you score higher, 3, 4, or 5, that's what we're looking at on those official reports. Semester units of college credit. Okay, so the IB, International Baccalaureate. A lot of students are taking IB diploma programs. It's designated as honors course on the UC list there. Scores are a little bit different, and you have to have taken the higher level and scored 4 or higher. So the SL, the standard level, no, those you could not request for college level credit. It'd have to be HL. And like I said, you can get up to 9 units of college credit for those. Things going on with COVID-19 and so forth. There are some numbers that you can call in terms of IB, and they have some staff standing by that you can contact. So the AP, excuse me, they changed their phone support hours from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the duration of this crisis. So domestically, if you phone 866-630-9305, you can contact them at that number. International, the number would be 212-713-8000. And then they also have an email on their site. It's Pages at College Board. IB is also communicating regularly with schools that have been impacted. So if you're a school and you're an impacted candidate, contact the IB's Adverse Circumstances team at support, SUPPORT, at ibo.org. To let them know. And then, like I said, you can communicate with us via email as well. Typically, it takes a little bit longer to get the final diploma for IB programs than the standard U.S. high school diploma. So we're aware of that. Just like I said, communicate with us in advance and so we can know. Document deadlines. These are going to be very, very important because remember I had mentioned at the beginning of the presentation being provisionally admitted. So what does provisionally admitted mean? Think of it as a temporary admission because we're relying on your self-reported information to make the initial admission decision. So once you send in the final documentation, the transcripts and test scores, and we can verify that those admission requirements have been met, it's called final audit, then that's what we're looking for. And we're looking for documents. If you can get them to us by July 15th, if you can send earlier, that's great if they're available. It ensures timely transfer credit processing for fall course placement. But if you're having difficulty, like we talked about earlier, during the COVID-19 crisis, that's understandable. The campus will remain flexible in terms of the deadlines because of the challenges. And like I said, communicate with us, let us know what's going on, and we'll try to help you in that regard. So I'll hand it back over to my colleague Rigson here to close out the presentation.
Great. So here I will talk about the International Center Student Center workshops. So all incoming F1 students will be expected and required to complete an online Blackboard course. And this information and content will be available to you by July 15th. You can access Blackboard through my CPP. You will also receive communication in your CPP email regarding this required online workshop. And what you will do is you will go through each topic, and this is very specific for international students because here you will learn about the F1 immigration responsibilities and benefits. So things like on-campus work, how many units do I need to take each semester, um, requirements of health insurance. Um, Also, we'll talk about cultural adjustment as you enter a new institution. And for some of you, it's a new country. So a lot of cultural adjustment going on. We will also touch on academic integrity, what that means. And it's basically a lot of good information that will be important for all incoming F1 students. You will have time to complete this on your own pace. So you can do a few topics one day and then come back and do it again the next day. So with that platform, it will help you kind of keep it up based on your level of screen time. So you can always return and it will be available to you throughout the whole time you're here studying at Cal Poly Pomona. So you can always go back and reread things. There also will be a component of a quiz because we want to make sure that you've gone through the whole information available to you, and you will just be asked a number of questions to make sure that you've understood and that you may not have any questions. But of course, if you do have questions, you can always contact us. And like I said, all international students will be notified when this becomes available by July 15th. So please keep an eye out in your CPP email for more information.
Okay, thank you, Rigzin. Did you want to mention any of your fellow staffers at the International Center as well?
Yes, thank you for the reminder. So in addition to myself, we have two additional international student advisors. Their names are Kelly McCullen. She's the coordinator of International Student and Scholar Services. We also have Mika Ozaki Gonzalez. She's also an international student advisor. And another thing to know about our office is that you all are going to get an assigned international student advisor based on your last name. So you may have me as the advisor or Mika or Kelly, and we're going to work with you throughout the time you're here at Cal Poly Pomona, so you can always contact us with any questions.
Okay, thank you, Rigzin. So together, we'd both like to welcome you to the Bronco family, all international students. Hashtag we are CPP, and that is the next steps. And finally, these are the email addresses that I had mentioned previously, if you want to take note of those. The first one is relatively short and sweet. International Admissions, INTER, @cpp.edu. And the International Center, that one's pretty easy as well. It's international@edu. And we thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy your upcoming fall semester at Cal Poly Pomona. Thank you.
Thank you.